Sure, you'll love it.
ओके जब आपको ये ऑफर हुआ था रोल तो आप लोग को पता था कि आप तो वन पे है सर टू पे है
इश्क में मर जावा यू टॉकिंग अबाउट.
तो ये सर तो कुछ शो के बारे में कुछ बातें हुई आप लोगों की एक मतलब टाइम तो मिला होगा थोड़ा कुछ बात हुई आप
ऐसी बातें नहीं पूछते.
I think that's the first thing we discussed, and we were bitching a lot about each other, and she was saying her Marjawan was better. I was like, no, my Marjawan was better. So
वो
both Marjawan were competing and all of that.
Yeah.
We were discussing similarities. Actually, background theme की बात चली थी
क्या
कि
क्या
तारा
और कैरेक्टर
तारा
की बात भी चली थी.
तारा-
He हाँ the character he played mine was also very similar to that.
And Tara
So-
की background theme and Vansh की जो background
Yeah,
theme, I
it
think they
was
were
very-
very similar. So that's
it was same,
the thing.
yeah.
So we're discussing all of these things only.
अब सर के साथ हेली मैम थी बहुत ही कॉम्पिटिटर थी
कॉम्पिटिटर क्यों थी वो? कॉम्पिटिटर नहीं थी यार.
टफ कंपटीशन
हेली ने दिया मेरे को.
हाँ मतलब सभी लोगों ने दिया और आप
कर क्या रहे हैं लोग मेरे साथ?
और आपने अर्जुन सर को दिया तो कहीं ना कहीं
God.
you did a very well मतलब कैरेक्टर बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग प्लेयर थे आप लोगों का
He wants some controversy out of this.
अच्छा, he wants to- ऐसे ही बोल
स्ट्रॉन्ग
रहा है.
कैरेक्टर फीलिंग था आप लोगों का लोगों ने इतना प्यार दिया मतलब वन की बात हो तो टू की बात होना ही था
चलो पहले you talk about 2. You
अच्छा तो
talk
मेरे को
about
बोलना, अच्छा मेरे को सवाल तो बताओ, मैं वही बोलूंगा.
हाँ तो मैं ये बोल रहा हूँ कि इतना मतलब पॉपुलर शो था हेली मैम के साथ आपका जो केमिस्ट्री मतलब जो भी था प्यार लोग पसंद करते थे मैम का अर्जुन सर के साथ तो आप थोड़ा कुछ अपने कुछ बताइए मतलब क्या मतलब शो तो बंद हुआ है लेकिन यादें तो रहती है
ऑफ कोर्स यादें हमेशा रहेंगी और एंड मरजावा विल नॉट बी नोन फॉर आई थिंक मेरे को पर्सनली ऐसा लगता है कि इश्क में मरजावा 2 वाज नॉट मी, इट वाजंट हेली, इट वाज द शो. आई थिंक द शो वाज वे बिगर देन द कैरेक्टर्स प्लेइंग देयर लिटिल पार्ट्स इन दिस शो. एंड उसके बीच में अगर कोई मेरे को पसंद कर ले, हेली को तो ऑलरेडी लोग बहुत पसंद करते हैं, सो देयर इज़ नो क्वेश्चन सेकंड थॉट अबाउट दैट. और यू नो बाकी कैरेक्टर्स को भी बहुत वेटेज मिलती है, तो आई थिंक इट्स अ ह्यूज सक्सेस फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस. मैं कभी भी यू नो आई डोंट टेक वर्क एज कि अच्छा ये मेरी को एक्ट्रेस है, आज मैं दिखाता हूँ उसको कि बेटर एक्टर कौन है. आई
Yeah,
डोंट
I
अप्रोच
think-
वर्क विद दैट कॉम्पिटिटिव स्पिरिट बिकॉज
And
I
I
think it
think when-
spoils the whole mood of the fun, the enjoyment aspect of it. और मैं actually बस fun के लिए करता हूँ ये काम.
And I think on screen, if you're shown as a couple, so it is very important for both of them to be on a same page and both of them to perform well. आपस में अगर competition होगा ना तो वो कभी भी outcome अच्छा नहीं होगा. But if both are working together and making it work, so I think people will love it and they will call it chemistry because it looks like a beautiful chemistry. So I think both have to together, work together and be on a same page. You can't be each other's competitor at that time.
At least the couple can't be competitive.
Yeah.
I think
And,
that's the worst thing for a show to happen.
And I think if I talk about part 1, Ishq mein Marjawa, that was the time when we actually started this and the name was not yet decided of the show if I go back the memory lane. And सबसे पहले जो नाम सर के दिमाग में आ रहा है if I talk about यश सर तो he was talking about some let's keep the name असली नकली or something like that because it was all about the double role and the story revolving
असली
around
नकली.
Deep. Yeah, actually,
यश सर से बात करनी पड़ेगी.
the names were something similar. So later on they came up with Ishq mein Marjawa
I think it's a
and we
great
really
name.
loved it. Arjun and me, we were like, wow, it sounds very intriguing and very different, like Ishq mein Marjawa. So something very different and nice. So and see now it's a franchise I can say and people are loving it. I think Yash और ममता ये जो हैं Yash sir and Mamta ma'am, they are very good at telling stories and their stories are actually wonderful. Their narrations are great and larger than life दिखाया भी जाता है. और
No, I think Ishq mein Marjawa is the kind of sitcom, the TV show where you can actually do a lot of cool things.
yeah, you have
and-
so much more to explore.
Yeah, it's not your
Like-
typical show.
Right, and
You
when we
actually go out and have fun there.
Right, very correct. And when we did part 1, the most challenging part for me at that time was because, I have to be seen as the protagonist and plus the vamp. So normally in TV shows, people hate vamps, people hate protagonists. But in this show, we had to make them fall in love with the protagonist also and the antagonist. Because if they hate me as antagonist, they are never gonna love this couple, Deep and Arohi as the protagonist. So that was a little tricky, but we worked बहुत बहुत मेहनत की थी हमने. We worked
No,
really
but it
hard
actually
for
came out
it.
very nice.
And yeah, and later on जो results रहे, and you know now till date if we talk about Ishq में मरजावा 1,
Everybody
people
talks
have been
about Aalisha.
people have been thank you, but people have been giving more compliments for Tara rather than Arohi. You know, otherwise Arohi was the protagonist, but people love like I'm talking about Arohi, what I played for 1 year. Like after that Nia came and she also performed really well, but I'm talking about the double role that I did. People say that Tara was much more bigger and really nice the way Aalisha played rather than what you played Arohi. So I was like, nahi yaar, Arohi bhi maine hi kiya hai. Even I, you know, played that as well really nicely. But I think what they love is this vamp for the first time in TV was very different. She was not like over dramatic. This vamp was very subtle and yet dangerous too. So I think that worked really well, and people loved me as both. I think I owe you know it to them.
ओके, आखिर में एक सवाल पूछना चाहूँगा. कलर्स में अब जस्ट विन हुआ है, तेजस्वी विन हुई है बिग बॉस. आप दोनों की क्या शुभकामनाएं? आप कलर्स के टॉप लिस्टेड एक्टर्स हैं, तो क्या कहना
Oh
चाहेंगे?
really?